For decades, Marines crossed open water in vehicles that proved shockingly vulnerable, until combat losses and failed replacement programs forced a reckoning. The effort to design a new amphibious combat vehicle wasn't just an upgrade, it was a matter of survival. With billions committed and the legacy AAV now obsolete, what finally made the Marines' next monster amphibious vehicle different? And was it worth the cost? The Marines' aging assault amphibious vehicle, known as the AAV, revealed its limits the hard way. Designed in the 1970s for a different era, the AAV's flat bottom hull and thin armor left it dangerously exposed to roadside bombs and improvised explosive devices. Survivability became a matter of life and death, not just a line on a specification sheet. Attempts to replace the AAV kept falling short. The most ambitious effort, the Expeditionary Fighting Vehicle, promised high water speed, but ran into spiraling costs and technical failures. After breaching the Nunn-McCurdy threshold, that program was canceled in 2011, leaving the Corps without a clear path forward. Meanwhile, real-world losses mounted. Adding armor to the old fleet could not close the gap. The Marines faced a stark choice: keep risking lives in outdated vehicles, or invest in something fundamentally new. The pressure to find a true solution grew as every failed attempt underscored what was at stake: getting Marines ashore alive against modern threats that no legacy design could withstand. Standing beside the amphibious combat vehicle, scale takes on a new meaning. The amphibious combat vehicle, the ACV, stretches 9.2 meters from bow to stern, longer than a city bus, while a width of 3.1 meters and a height of 2.9 meters give it a broad, towering presence. This is no lightweight. At nearly 35 tons fully loaded, the ACV weighs as much as a main battle tank from earlier generations. Inside, a crew of 3, the commander, the driver, and the gunner, work in tandem, coordinating every move. Behind them, space is carved out for 13 fully equipped Marines, each with gear and supplies for 2 days of combat. The interior is engineered for both protection and efficiency, with blast-resistant seats and a layout designed for rapid egress. Every dimension, every kilogram, reflects a careful trade-off: enough armor to withstand modern threats, but still light and compact enough to launch from a ship and push inland. The ACV's sheer mass and troop capacity are not just numbers. They are the physical promise of getting Marines ashore together and alive. The price tag for the amphibious combat vehicle is often quoted as a single number, but the real story is more complicated. Procurement costs shift from lot to lot, depending on the number of vehicles ordered, the mix of variants, and what is bundled in, like support equipment and training packages. According to selected acquisition report data, the average unit cost sits around $5 million, but that figure can swing closer to $4 million or climb above $5 million, depending on the year and configuration. These numbers reflect more than just the vehicle itself. They capture a broader investment in survivability and mission flexibility, and in mobility. Each production lot brings its own set of variables, from inflation adjustments to the inclusion of command or recovery variants. The ACV program office tracks these fluctuations carefully, knowing that every dollar spent has to deliver real gains in protection and operational reach. In this context, the cost is not just a number, it is a measure of how seriously the Marines take the challenge of getting Marines ashore, ready, and alive. In June 2018, the Marine Corps made its decision official. Milestone C approval cleared the way for full-scale production of the amphibious combat vehicle, turning years of testing and prototypes into a real commitment. This was more than a contract signing. It was the moment the Corps locked in its future for ship-to-shore assault. Program Executive Officer Land Systems, working closely with BAE Systems, awarded the initial production contracts with a clear target to recapitalize the aging fleet with hundreds of new ACVs, aiming for a total of 632 vehicles across all planned variants. The baseline personnel carrier would form the backbone, but command, recovery, and cannon-armed models were already mapped into the fleet plan. With Milestone C, funding shifted from development to procurement, setting the stage for annual production lots and scaling deliveries to the assault amphibian battalions. The vision of a new, survivable amphibious force became a funded reality, one that would shape Marine operations for decades to come. Getting Marines from ship to shore isn't just a matter of brute force. It's an engineering puzzle shaped by the sea itself. The amphibious combat vehicle's hull tells the story. Naval architects gave it a high, sweeping bow and a pronounced freeboard, allowing the ACV to ride over waves without taking on water. At nearly 3 meters high and over 3 meters wide, the hull's geometry is tuned for both buoyancy and stability, supporting the full 35-ton weight of the vehicle, crew, and 13 embarked Marines through surf and open water. Underneath, a V-shaped floor not only deflects blasts but also displaces enough water to keep the vehicle afloat, even with a full combat load. Propulsion in the water comes from dual water jets mounted at the stern. They are not just add-ons but integrated systems, drawing on a 690 horsepower diesel engine to push the ACV at over 6 knots in open water. The jets give the vehicle the agility to maneuver through plunging surf up to 9 feet and operate in sea state 3 conditions, where waves can reach over 1 meter high. Every hatch and seam is sealed against saltwater intrusion, and corrosion-resistant coatings protect critical components from the harsh marine environment. This level of amphibious engineering means the ACV isn't just a land vehicle that can swim. It's designed from the keel up for the demands of ship-to-shore assault, bridging the gap between naval power and the fight on land. The amphibious combat vehicle isn't a one-trick machine. It's the foundation for a whole family of vehicles, each tailored for a different role on the battlefield. The baseline ACVP serves as the personnel carrier, moving a full Marine rifle squad and their gear from ship to shore. Alongside it, the Marines are fielding the ACVC-2, outfitted with advanced communication suites, workstations, and antennas. This command variant turns the vehicle into a rolling nerve center, keeping units connected even in the chaos of amphibious assault. Firepower gets its own specialist. The ACV-30, armed with a stabilized 30mm cannon in a remote turret, brings direct fire support for taking on enemy armor, bunkers, or fortified positions. When things go wrong, the ACVR enters the picture equipped with heavy-duty recovery gear to tow, repair, or rescue damaged vehicles under fire. Each variant shares the same hull and core systems, streamlining logistics and training, but the modular approach means the fleet can adapt as missions change, from storming beaches to holding ground inland. This family concept is about flexibility, not just numbers, a scalable toolkit for modern amphibious warfare. Surviving a blast is not a matter of luck inside the ACV. The hull forms a deep V, inspired by the lessons of MRAP vehicles in Iraq and Afghanistan. This shape is not just for show. It channels the force of a mine, or an IED, away from the crew and the embarked Marines, reducing the deadly energy that reaches anyone inside. Underfoot, energy-absorbing seats hang from the roof, not bolted to the floor, so the shock of an explosion does not travel straight into the spine. Modular armor plates line the hull, tailored to the threat and the mission. These features are not theoretical. During development, full-scale blast tests showed the ACV's underbelly could take punishment that would cripple older vehicles. Every detail, from the wheel wells to the fuel system, is built with one question in mind. If the worst happens, will the Marines inside walk away? Mastering the surf zone takes more than raw horsepower or armored hulls. Every ACV crew faces a demanding training pipeline before earning waterborne certification. The Marine Corps set strict limits. Operations are only cleared in surf up to 3 feet high, and every swim must include safety boats on standby. After 2 ACV vehicles rolled over during exercises in 2022, the Corps paused all water operations and overhauled the training regime. The new Amphibious Assault Transition Operations Procedures and Standards Manual spells out emergency drills, surf handling, and periodic recertification. The difference between a safe landing and a disaster often comes down to crew skill, not just vehicle design. In the end, the ACV's promise of getting Marines ashore alive relies as much on disciplined training as on steel and engineering. The amphibious combat vehicle is more than an upgrade, it's a strategic connector in the Marines' evolving approach to warfare. As new doctrine shifts focus to distributed operations across littoral zones, the ACV forms a vital link in the chain from ship to shore and beyond. Its ability to launch from amphibious ships, cross open water under its own power, and deliver Marines directly onto contested beaches gives commanders options that go far beyond traditional port assaults. In scenarios where adversaries can deny access to airfields and harbors, the ACV enables Marines to land where they are least expected, then push inland with protection against modern threats. This flexibility fits squarely into Force Design 2030, supporting small dispersed units that maneuver independently along hostile coastlines. By bridging the gap between naval power at sea and ground forces ashore, the ACV isn't just a vehicle, it's a cornerstone of how the Marine Corps plans to fight and win in the contested littorals of the future. Right now, the ACV sits at the cutting edge of amphibious warfare, engineered for threats that do not wait for safe harbors. As global coastlines grow more contested, the Marines' ability to land protected and ready is not just tradition, it is deterrence. The next beach could test that promise at any moment.